Oh, hold on. Not like anybody was watching. You know what sucks shit today is it's 5:36 and I would have been live at 5:30, right? It would have happened. And then I go to turn on the camera that was working and now it's not working and it says insufficient resources. I go, okay, insufficient. Let me close everything, right? And then there won't be insufficient resources anymore. So I go to close everything, and it doesn't do anything. Doesn't close. Doesn't get my camera working. So I go, what are we gonna do today? Either I'll just be a fucking black cube, which is fitting for this shit fucking network of what can be the equivalent of living death. To have to put up with this fucking bullshit. That's from D-Live. I tried changing the X tag today. D-Live, I hope you jumped in, and I just want you to know, I want you to choke to death on my cock. D-Live, I want you to fucking choke to death on my dick and balls. I hope the moderators are listening, and I hope that they know that they are shitbag fucking losers. Shitbag fucking losers. As they let people do whatever they want on this network. And we're virtually shadow banned. So I'm mad about that. I'm mad about the camera. I would restart the computer, right? But you know what would happen then? It would be like, hey, need you to enter a password. And I can't even adjust the clock on this fucking thing because nobody knows the password to the main fucking computer for the studio. My producer won't let you know that he's late, but he's late. I feel like this could have been worked out. And I watched the Alex Jones and Michael Malice podcast. Yeah. And I was a fan of everybody except, what's his name? Tim Pool and his, I guess, girlfriend who adds nothing. Here's my impression of the girl on Timcast IRL. Ha! Yeah. No. Ooh. Oh, you can't say. Uh-huh. That's all she does. I don't know who she is or why she's there, but it's Tim Pool's thing. Oh, here's another thing. I hit play on this. It didn't work. Let's do a little jazz. Can you hear a little jazz right now? No, that's the intro. We don't want to do that. Yeah, there's my jazz track. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I watched that podcast, and it dawned on me, as it has before in the past, but then I get these little white pills, right? Sorry, I had something in my throat. come. I get these little white pills every now and then. I'm like, oh, wait, there's still a chance, you know, like a lot of other people think. Too many people think. And there's not a chance. There's not a chance. Trump is not going to win. Maybe this is why I have an X tag. I need a black tag. Trump's not going to win. And everything they were talking about on the Timcast was very BlackVill'ing, in the sense of it seemed like there was a lot of darkness, but people are under the impression that the acknowledgement of this impending doom will somehow stop the impending doom. And let me tell you what that is. It's a weird you go first attitude. There's probably a psychological or medical term for it that everybody is suffering from. And I was about to say everybody in the country, but I think it's everybody in the world is suffering from. And I understand it because I kind of tend to do the same thing. I say, well, you know, enough people are going to wake up to this. And when they do, somebody's going to do something. You've heard me say in the past, all it took was the assassination of 2 people to start an entire world war. And people have said to me, well, I'm sure there's more to it than that. Actually, no, there wasn't. Just before the beginning of the First World War, Europe was experiencing a renaissance like never seen before. You could call it that. You could call it the early 1900s version of globalism. Trade was expanding across all of Europe, and everybody was getting along because everybody was making a lot of money. Then the assassination of Ferdinand and his wife put all that to an end very, very quickly. It happened in very rapid succession. So I think what the world is waiting for, or even just the United States, especially seeing the current obvious turmoil it's in, is for somebody to pull the trigger on the Archduke and his wife. And it's not going to happen. And people go, well, you know, Trump still got the Supreme Court. I don't think it's going to make it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court might go, yeah, we're on Trump's side. You have to recount these ballots. But if these people, if you give them enough credit to think that they had the foresight and power, mostly just power, just raw power, to do what they've already done in the open. And believe me, I'm saying that they did absolutely do it. You don't think that they just have the power to do it again? You haven't seen one major media network, even Fox, caved, which I've been warning you about Fox for a long time. Even Fox caved. They've called Biden president. They've given him the nod, and they've started cutting off the President of the United States addresses to the country. Okay, so you don't have one major media network. You've been exiled to Parler. I got an email from Gab today, and they said some very cool stuff, you know, about fighting the power and all that. But they're not fighting the power, and neither is Parler. And just like Twitter, but to an even more extreme degree, Parler and Gab are simply an echo chamber. And they're more so Gab than Parler, but they are there's probably a high percentage of faux extremists on there. Because keep in mind, this is how they control the Franz Ferdinand theory. If you've ever wondered why the FBI entraps and makes examples out of people that never would have done anything without a very healthy push from the FBI, it's because this society, in their view, needs those enemies that really don't exist and really aren't a threat. But if they push those people to become what the government and the media has been warning you about, they can point to that example and say, see, this is why you need us. This is why you need to stop this. Now, keep in mind, what you've been seeing in the country as a whole, I won't mention anything specific, but as a whole, what you've been seeing in the last, let's say, 200 days hasn't been infiltrated, hasn't been stopped, and hasn't even been negatively talked about in the mainstream media. And a lot of the negative talk coming from alternate media that makes posts on places like Facebook and Twitter has been censored. So you lost. They've created an enemy that, again, doesn't truly exist and are telling you to not look at the extremists, the radicals, the terrorists that do exist. Now, that tells me, and it should tell you, that they have an immense amount of power to be able to do that. I mean, I'm sitting here, and it's not why my camera's off, but I'm sitting here nervous to talk about it. But I look at shining beacons like Alex Jones and Michael Malice, for example, and I go, they'll say it, they'll say it, and nobody's doing anything to them. And no, I'm not one of these people that goes, oh, Alex Jones is a shill. He's controlled opposition. Well, if he is, he's not doing a very good job at it. Because if anybody was watching Tim Pool yesterday with an open mind, what Alex Jones said was on face crazy. But this is why I love Michael Malice, and I'm really glad he was on the show at the same time, is because it seemed like 9 times out of 10, Alex Jones would say something crazy. Tim Pool would say, well, you can't say that because he's a fucking nerd. And then Michael Malice would go, no, that actually happened. Let me put it in this is Michael Malice. He would go, let me put it in InfoWars fans terms, and then he'd put it in a little more calm fashion. And most of the time, he would back him up and say, no, it actually happened. Anyway, point is, every now and then you'll think that you're crazy. You'll go, how am I one of the few, the obvious few, that see all this going on? Maybe the reason I'm not in the majority is because I'm losing my mind. Or maybe I'm not in the majority because I'm listening to things that are, or maybe lying to me. Maybe I should. Why do so many people trust the news? And I'm using air quotes. Why do so many people trust the news and I don't? Maybe the news is right and I'm just listening to these wacky conspiracy theorists. But here's the thing. When you look into what they say, most of the time it is very, very accurate. I understand that Alex Jones has a way about him to make things seem more extreme than they are. And when you look into them, you go, you really didn't have to make that more extreme. That's pretty fucking extreme. But I get why he does it. It's also entertainment. So when you question yourself, when you question your own, what would it be? You question your own sanity is too harsh. But I mean, it falls along a lighter line of sanity. And then you follow it up with looking into it. You go, okay, I'm not crazy. So you have to constantly remind yourself, and it gets so tiring. But then you reach a point where you go, I know it. I'm done looking into it. And I'm also done trying to convince people I know will never be convinced to believe reality. But I've noticed over the years, those people have become the majority. For example, if the numbers are to be believed, Joe Biden won 78 million votes, which is a record. So that is 78 million people in the United States that think that endless war is okay, that thinks that tech censorship is just fine, that thinks that organized roving marauders hell-bent on the destruction of the fabric of the United States, which I'm okay with at this point, are the good guys. If all the people who are claiming this is a racist institution elected the guy who called them, what was it? Jungle apes? Maybe not jungle apes. Maybe it was, he didn't want his kids to go to school in a racial jungle. He attacked Clarence Thomas, I believe, along racial lines. I would have to look it up. But it just goes to show you that the longer you let this go on in this direction, that they will win. They absolutely will win. So I came up with not a solution. You know, I formulated an idea, a hypothesis, if you will, in my head a few months back. And that's when I realized Trump's probably... No, at the time I go, he could win, but don't be surprised if he doesn't. But in my mind I go, what's... Seeing as though this is all headed off a cliff, whether he wins or not, which I wish people would just wake up to that fucking reality already. It amazes me that after all you've seen in 4 years of a not very subtle soft coup from billion-dollar technocrats, from China, from the rest of the world with things like the Paris Accord and things like that, you go, you really think if this man wins, who, by the way, and this is through no fault of his own, I understand why he tried to do it, Trump absolutely accelerated the power of these people. And you need to understand, too, these people does not mean the traditional, what you would call the left. These people are on both sides. You notice that the Republicans have already stopped, for the most part, defending Trump. Some of them have already started congratulating Biden, which is fine. But back to what I was saying. By the outsider getting in and trying to do such radical things like end war, stop China from raping us, try to some extent stop people from coming into this country. And people go, yeah, we shouldn't let illegals in. And I said, you shouldn't let anybody in. That includes, like, at this point, that includes, let's say, like white British engineers, for example. You shouldn't let them in either. In fact, what you should be doing is removing people. And not based on race, but based on their actual country of origin, how long they were there, what happened in that country. Or were they refugees? Are they young fighting age men? Well, then they need to go fight in their country, as has been historically done. But the powers that be don't want them to do that. They want them to come to your countries and slowly but surely, since the 1960s, change the fabric and perception of your society. Nobody's going after the colleges teaching your children, or the colleges teaching the teachers that then teach your children in elementary school, K through 12, to, nobody's shutting that down. But this is where I get to the point where I go, I could just keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. This list of things that have to be looked into, things that have to be addressed. And then that's when you start realizing it is so many things. It's a very tangled web that has been weaved for us. And it's undoable at this point. There's nothing short of a world war, and this is what I was starting out with, Trump declaring a coup and calling on citizens to put it down, which he's not going to do, because nobody wants to be the guy who killed Franz Ferdinand. See what I'm saying? So anywho, don't click on the cogwheel or anything. It's not going to work. So, anywho, I did notice it says there's not enough RAM.
Impossible.
Hold on. The producer's here.
32 gigs of RAM. There's plenty of RAM.
So anywho, my camera might come on. If it does, don't be shocked. There was another thing I wanted to talk about, but real quick, I'll wrap that up. Nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to stop. Cock sucker. I'm going to end that note. I had one other thing I wanted to ruin for you people. And I started to ruin it the other day. I tried to get a guy on today, a friend of mine. Hold on, I missed a call. Oh, okay. I tried to get a friend of mine that's in the transportation industry. He didn't get back to me. He's the one that told me to message him. Darren, thanks a lot. Anyway, I wanted to run through these videos real quick of the truck drivers that say they're gonna strike, and they will be alone. They will strike alone. Here we go.
Remember back in April when truckers were the most important people in the world? Because we were bringing your toilet paper and
hey asshole, why do you have a hat light on when you're driving?
your gas to heat your house. Everybody was howling at night for the first responders.
Yeah, here's another thing. I think what he meant to say was, all you people with your trinkets and your knickknacks from China. Who else is going to deliver all your knickknacks from China? Your ticky-tack. Huh? Fuel and heat. No, that's not what's on America's highways. What's on America's highways is Chinese shit.
Because we've been out here in the middle of this pandemic this whole time, bringing you shit. And how do you thank us? You close down the restaurants that we eat at. Okay, we can deal with it. Then you close down our rest stops.
What's with his editing? These people can't complete a thought without having to edit it, even on a cell phone video. And he doesn't even try to go back to the same camera angle. This is who you're dealing with.
Now in Wyoming, they're talking about not even plowing the highways this winter because they can't afford it. And to top it all off, 70 million of you guys voted against the trucking industry, against
78.
first response, against oil and gas. We ain't gonna forget this shit. You already have, but we won't.
You might not forget it, but you're going to do what you're told. All these people are going to do exactly what they're told. You know why? Because they got to eat too. Yeah. If they were going to strike, they would have striked when They would have struck. They would have striked when they did all the things he said they did.
Like hang hung.
Like shut down the restaurants. Like I don't know, whatever they do to these people. By the way, pack a lunch, you dumb shit. Road food is expensive.
Fuck you.
That's a good one to end on. So, anywho, I got a couple more. I haven't watched any of these, by the way. I'm just letting you know. So, it's all on the fly. Oh, now I get a fucking update. All right, let me see. This one's under Truck Fag 2 MP4.
Oh yeah, you better stock up. Because once these trucks stop moving, you don't have anything. You don't have anybody stocking your grocery stores. You don't have anybody supplying steel or lumber to your job sites. You don't have anybody bringing gasoline to your gas stations.
What's he talking about? I haven't seen anybody not get what they need. These truckers are on fucking meth, probably. Anyway, that's another thing. This is who you're dealing with. The people, and I'm going to get flack for this. You're dealing with people who have chosen a career of isolation. Okay? And most of them have done that for a reason. I'm not saying that they're all wacky retards. I'm just saying they tend to be a certain type. Smelly, short-sighted retards. And now they have a platform. TikTok, Twitter, Parler, and you get to hear them babble on like all the other retards about things that are never going to happen.
To run your car so you can go to the store where there's nothing to buy. Yeah. I get
Now, this guy should have edited the video.
more than toilet paper.
I just said video. He should have edited the video.
I'm just going to say that. Because everything stops without us. To a screeching halt. So we're going to do what we need to do.
Yeah, you're going to do your fucking job, or your boss is going to tell you you're fired, and then somebody else will do it. This is a small, tiny fraction of what I'm talking about. I believe when Alex Jones and Michael Malice were on Timcast, they said something about Timcast says, well, it's only the weak-willed will fall for this. And I think it was Michael Malice that goes, no, it's the weak economically that will fall for that. And that's you. That's all of you. I won't play the last video because we got to start on our own TV. But the thought I had about that economic slavery that Malice touched on was during their conversation, Tim Pool goes, okay, you're always talking about these people that are in control, these elites. And he goes, who are they? And I think Alex said, Davos Group, Mr. Davos Group. And maybe he mentioned another one or two. So, solution number 2 I was thinking of. If you can wake up, not the multi-billionaires, but if you could wake up the millionaires, and then the millionaires funded the resistance, I know this is getting out there, but hear me out, because you don't have a fucking solution to what's coming. If the billionaires are controlling all the financials and pulling all the strings and controlling all the media and buying all the influence and doing all that, the millionaires, all the way up to $1 billion, aren't in that controlling class. But collectively, they would have enough money to fund a resistance. So, let's say hypothetically, there is this crazy cabal of people trying to destroy you, including the people that are worth anywhere from $1 to $999 million. If you can wake these people up to their lives being destroyed because they're not in the club either, they can buy a lot of guns, they can buy a lot of bullets, they can buy a lot of technology. There's your 2 solutions. A coup being put down against Trump, or 2, millionaires funding the resistance. That's a fun little thing I came up with today. So there's your white pills and the BlackVill's, right?
It's pretty good.
That gives you 2 options right there.
Yeah.
But you're still going to need that Franz Ferdinand. And I don't think it's going to be you, because it ain't going to be me.
Ain't gonna be me.
I'm going to end it. I'm going to have you guys do me a favor. All 10 of you fucking pieces of shit. Not you. Well, you. But D-Live.
Not connecting right again.
No, it
X-Tag
connected fine. Let me tell you
X-Tag
what's
thing?
happening. The fucking X-Tag.
Can't take it off.
I tried a million different ways.
Yeah.
I changed the category to a game. It's called Fuck Quest. I put in Fuck D-Live Cunts, and they were like, did you mean Fuck Quest? And I'm like, I sure did. So you're watching the Fuck Quest podcast. Well, you were. Now I'm ending it.
Thunderdome TV time, baby.
But if you wait 1 minute, we'll come back with TDTV. And nobody will watch that either except the regulars, which we're glad to have you. And I hope Fred tunes in.